devastated schools and pay skyrocketing tuition and fees for college.
Well, there could also be more cuts coming to health and human services. Many local charities that rely on government grants and funding are bracing for the worst, hoping that they'll be able to provide services to those who need it most. Calvert Collins is live at one of those charities, Easter Seals of Southern Nevada, near Jones and Oakey. Good morning, Calvert.
Good morning, Dana. Well, the folks here at Easter Seals have been preparing for possible 5 up to 10% across the board cuts. We're in one of the child care rooms, which is one of the many services that they provide. Now, any cuts would affect some of the care for the very young children with autism and other developmental disabilities. Easter Seals provides a myriad of services to disabled children, adults, and their families. The nonprofit relies on government funding, donations, and their own fundraising efforts to keep providing services. Among its many services, Easter Seals has daycare for adults, autism services, supported living and employment for disabled adults going into the workforce, and many others. Brian Patchett is the president and CEO here at Easter Seals. Now, you all have been you listened to the State of the State address last night. You kind of have been preparing for more possible cuts, kind of round two, so to speak. So what are you expecting?
Well, what we're expecting is this will be a tough legislative session. I think there are some areas that we're concerned about that affect children with disabilities and adults with disabilities. I was, however, heartened by what the governor had to say last night. Of course, the proof is what's in the budget and what we end up with when the legislature and the governor come up with something that they can both agree on.
Now, we heard possible 8% cuts to health and human services, so that would affect some of your funding. What would be cut or at least pulled back in some cases?
You know, I think the concern we have right now is mental health services, developmental disability services. We heard some positive things last night about some of that. We heard some positive things about autism and about early intervention. Hopefully those programs will continue.
And autism, I mean, that's been talked about at least for increased funding, and then now it seems it may be cut back. How would that affect some of the folks you serve?
Well, the funding for autism is going to affect families that are trying to provide therapy that is so much needed, like the ABA therapy that is necessary for autism. When those funds are cut, families, quite frankly, can't afford the services.
Sure. So we'll keep up the good work here at Easter Seals. We'll get some kiddos in here in just a minute, but from what we understand, the governor hasn't laid out his complete budget. We may not even know that for a few more weeks, and of course then that budget will go through multiple phases in the state legislature, which starts in about 2 weeks, and then hopefully we'll get some proof and passage of it in the next couple of weeks after that. Back to you guys.